What do you wish society knew about infant loss?
So perhaps it is then from the childless not by choice perspective that then every story won't necessarily end up with a child. So, there's a lot of messages around at least you can get pregnant, all of those type of
Yeah.
messages, which then people say from a loving and a comforting place. But, it doesn't really, for us that have been through losses, it really doesn't help. You don't well, we do want to go through the experience of being pregnant, of course, but we want a happy and healthy baby at the end of it. So just being able to get pregnant is not enough, sort of thing. So I think there's an assumption that you just have to keep trying and keep trying and keep trying, and you'll eventually get your baby. Well, that can be really, really bad for your mental health, and that could, lead to suicidal thoughts or suicidal attempts, as you bravely shared. Sometimes the bravest thing to do is to say stop, and not every story will end up with a child. So yeah, hold space for that as well would be my request.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
I think that's the thing with people that like it's oftentimes, oh, you can always do IVF, or you can always adopt, or you can always do this other thing, or and that's not always the answer. Like
Mm.
maybe people don't want to do IVF, maybe people don't want to adopt, maybe that isn't
Or maybe they
the
don't
answer.
have 10,000 euros to be able to do those things. It's not, in the States. I know people have had to remortgage their houses to go through these type of things, and it's
Yeah,
a lot of financial things. It's then, but there's an assumption you can do IVF, you can do donor, you can do surrogate, you can do, and there's no time limits as well. As in celebrities in their 50s are still having children. Well, I think, yeah, I would be in some institute by now if I carried on with all of those. So yeah, so there's, yeah, not every story will end up with a child, and be respectful of that, please.
yeah. I think it's amazing that we're at a point where there are so many options because 50 years ago there wasn't IVF, there wasn't egg donation, there wasn't all these different options. So it's amazing that that is there for people, but I don't think it should be the expectation that you have to keep going until you get that baby that you want because it's just a lot financially,
It,
emotionally, spiritually, with your relationship with yourself, your relationship with your husband or your partner, with family members, friends. It is just a lot to ask of people to keep going until they get that child. And I think sometimes, in my case at least, the wise thing to do is to enjoy my life I have and not try and spend, X amount of money and time and energy and everything else trying to get this thing that might not ever happen anyway. So
and
yeah,
that still
completely.
doesn't mean that you didn't want to be a mother, and your experience
No,
is still 100% valid. So,
yeah.
please don't invalidate that experience, anybody listening as well.